He thinks, again, he said, in trying to build a united Somalia, or a united Somali region, he said, we're putting the roof before the foundation. And he said, the Isa people, of course, everybody likes to talk about their own area as being the best, you know, or being successful, but he said, the Isa used to be very chaotic after the wars in the 16th century between Ethiopia and Amedranya. He said, there was disruption everywhere. And the Isa gradually evolved a confederacy with 3 old tribes or clans and 3 new ones, and they made what they call the Her Isa, a way of promoting reconciliation and governance, and it spreads across 3 different modern countries, right? Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somaliland, Somali regions. And he said, I think every region of Somalia, every region of the Somali-speaking area has its own indigenous state-building traditions, sometimes based on her and discussions and alliances amongst local people, sometimes using Islamic ideas of governance, you know, like Bardera or some of those, you know, unified using tariqa organization, you know. So that we have to look, instead of just at Western ideas of states, we have to look at how Somalis themselves solve their problems and their issues using the elders, using marriages, using treaties and agreements, contracts. And I thought, of course, there's nothing better than the history of Digo Marifle area, right? That's a perfect example of people building structures of governance that don't depend entirely on who you're born, where you're born, who you're born from. It's not just about clan or descent. It's about making agreements, contracts, bringing people in. The hosts of a particular territory welcome others, you know, groups who are migrating in historically. Sometimes you don't trust them right away, so you say you can use our resources, use our land, use our water. If you behave yourselves, if you're part of the system historically, eventually you intermarry. You pay jointly, and you can even eventually help select the leaders. Isn't that a great system? That's a system of building confederation or association from the ground up. That lesson has to be taught. It's a good lesson, not just for the South, but for the whole of Somalia. Is it possible, as Abdul Rashid of Djibouti was suggesting, that we need to look and encourage a little more knowledge about the different local forms, indigenous, historical forms of governance that provide a better foundation for peace and security than this top-down system does. So I thought, I wish there had been someone giving a paper about my historical ideas of governance and contract making and peacemaking, reconciliation. I knew about it, I had written about it, but I was talking about another topic. I said I should have done something on this. So there's a lot of area where the lessons of the Southern history that we're working on can really contribute to the dialogue in the country today. So I think that was a good thing. Need to do that. Also, issues of land. You know, I've written about land grabs. You all know, I mean, this is one of the ways that Southern Somalis, Somali Bantus, Digo Marifle people, and even the Benadiris, you know, have been discriminated against mightily. Their land is taken by those with more weapons, and as a result, the traditional customary ways of using land, of sharing resources, has been lost to people with guns. We know that. I'm not sure if the rest of the Somali studies community, people in Somaliland, really know all of this story. You know, when you're seeking justice for yourself, you're seeking equality, whether it's looking for recognition of Mai or recognition of Somaliland or whatever it is, you have to not stop there. You have to say, yeah, we have to acknowledge everybody's right to justice and equality. Digil Marifle, the people of Bai and Bakol, also have to recognize the rights of Somali Bantu and Islet, and all of these minority groups. Our struggle for recognition requires an acknowledgement that others also have rights, So any story that tells of discrimination in land grabs, or in representation in government, or in cultural production, in the knowledge of and printing of languages, every struggle should be the entire country's struggle. Shouldn't just be for ours. We don't want to just be narrow and say all we care about is making Afmai, getting Afmai recognized. No, that's part of the larger struggle to make Somalia, to have the Somali nation, recognized as multilingual and multicultural. Once we do that, then we can say, now let's find a government that includes and celebrates all of this diversity. Okay, finally, I don't want to talk too long because we have maybe some questions here. Let's see, I talked about the cultural heritage panels. I talked about the uses of trying to understand of peace building. Let's see what else I have finally. The role of the diaspora. The Hargeisa is attracting many Somalis who live in England or Canada or US from the former, and they come back home and their kids, for the first time sometimes, hear this poetry and language. So the diaspora can be a real agent for change, but they too have to learn. That's why it's important for, I hope we hear later on about when we're building a new university, all right, in the south, in the south, that students there have a task of collecting material, making it available, producing knowledge that the diaspora can consume, and then they use their connections and their publishing experience to spread that knowledge around. I think that's really very important. In any event, I would like to see, as an historian and partly anthropologist, I would like to see more information done about the rich cultural, the social customs, the material culture, the intellectual history of Mai. Many years ago, an Italian, Massimo Colucci, did a wonderful book about land holding and power sharing and incorporation in the growth of different inter-riverine communities. That has to be updated. Maybe I'll do it. If I ever retire from teaching, maybe I can get a chance to just translate some of that into English and into Somali. It should be translated into Somali, and just see what's happening today. We know that lots of things have changed, but those ideas about building communities, building trust, building associations, they can be, I think, brought up, and I think people need to know about that. So there is a role. Right now, we know that, you all know about in North America anyway, people are making a lot of attention to Faswai, the video. You guys have that here? The Faswai by some Somali Bantu singer. I think it was Jillib and MG Man. Do young people know this? You know this? This Faswa song? Anyway, it's really been big, viral on the tube. That's a Somali Bantu band, I think, trying to say we gotta preserve Afmai. And they've been interviewed a lot. So that's a popular project going on, and it should be accompanied by people who are doing scholarly work to preserve Afmai and having it be known as much as we can. Every conference in America, we should have someone talking about the richness and the history of Afmai. Even I learned something this morning. So anyway, I'm just saying that I think that it was kind of, perhaps I was destined to have gone to Hargeisa and then come here right one day after the other. I have the same room number in my hotel that the host provided, 111, that I had in Hargeisa. Exactly the same room in the Mansour Hotel. What does that mean? I mean, there's something telling me, giving me a message to somehow try to create some kind of synergy, you know, or dynamism that can connect. The Somalilanders are occupied with their own project right now, and you know, they think that when they give sessions like we have here, people either do it all in Somali or all in English. What I really like this morning is that the two Abdul Qadrs, you know, they both had English slides, and they spoke in Somali or in Afma, right? In English, sometimes in Swedish, you know. That's recognition that we have a multi-linguistic audience here. We're not just speaking to one or another, we're trying to speak to everybody. That was a good way to communicate. You haven't got time to do that for every topic, but I think it shows an awareness that we're in a transitional, multi-linguistic moment, and we should, and the more people we can get on board the project of preserving and promoting my language and culture, I think the better we'll all be. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm sorry my thoughts are rambling. Let's have some questions.
wadayaal subscribe saara channelkan haddii aad ku cusub tahay share garay like-tana ha ka iloobin sidoo kale haddii aad aragti qabto hoos inoogu reeb oo mahadsantiin